Welcome back to Doodling with Purpose, and if you've been hanging out with this channel for all 102 episodes, you, like me, might be amazed that we're still finding original Egyptian hieroglyphic cartoons on the internet to start the lessons off with. I mean, come on, 102 of these and no end in sight? I guess hieroglyphs are extremely popular, especially with cartoonists. Interesting. Alright, well, if you are new to the channel, or even if you are oldish to the channel, this is kind of a bit of a reboot. You could call it Doodling with Purpose, the new class, where we're still doing lessons in hieroglyphics, but we've moved away from sentence structure and are now going and doing vocabulary building. But with the vocabulary building, we're also reviewing all of the major glyphs. So a good time to jump on board. And the first glyph we're going to hit today, which is our fourth in the Egyptian hieroglyphic alphabet, is the D sound, duh, just like in English, dad. And it's a hand, like, hi, Dad. So, yeah, that's a bad one. Let me redraw that. There we go. I should have added a little bit more of the wrist there. It always throws it off when you don't do that part. See how it's easy it is to doodle on purpose, but by accident? All right, easy one to draw. It's 3 strokes as long as you're starting with the thumb. That's the trick, is do the thumb first. And again, if you are new to this channel and this content, you can always go back to the early lessons to see in depth how to draw each glyph. So let's do a word that starts with the D sound. We've got the D sound, we have the mat, and then we have the loaf or hill. So this is going to combine to be D, P, T, reading it up to down and left to right. Always reading into the face, or in this case, the only animal we have is a hand, so into the hand. We know we're starting from the left. So it becomes dipit, or perhaps daput, since, of course, there are no vowels in Egyptian. There are just consonants. Some consonants that sound a bit like vowels, but either way, an important word because this word means a boat. No, it doesn't mean a specific type of boat, so lots of things could be called a boat. Heck, even Moses had a basket that was a boat, right? Because the Egyptians have this river that runs through it. Probably heard of it. It's very important. It's called the Mississippi. Anyway, let's do another word that begins with the letter D, or the hand. So here we have the hand. Now, again, we have the reed mat and the double papyrus reed, which is Y. If it's one papyrus, it's an I, but close sounds. So we have D, P, Y. So that could make this dappy. Or if you want to insert different vowels, it could be derpy, or it could be dippy. It's tough, which is why. But if you look at what the word means, and it means this thing here, your friendly neighborhood pet, which is a crocodile in ancient Egypt. So, however it's dappy, derpy, or dippy, you probably don't want to meet it face to face. All right, next up, another D, but this is with the line under it, J, like déjà or déjà vu in French. Dijon, mustard, Jean, the DJ sound. It's the best way to explain it. It's like in the French. All right, so this is a snake curled down and easy to do. We'll do the head, the body goes down, 2 strokes. And looking at it in a word. So here's our vocabulary building time. So we have D or J for the front, and then the hand, ah. Now we also have another letter, another glyph. So this is the word for storm. And you'll probably recognize this glyph. In fact, it's actually a lettered glyph. It's aha. It's a 3-sound glyph, one of the first trilaterals. Now, it feels like you might want to say déjà aha, but in this case, this is a determinative. And sometimes it's drawn with more, shall we say, flourish, making it clear that it is not the aha glyph, that more so it is a sail, or this is the mast, and then you can draw out the sail. And a lot of times you'll see it drawn like this when it's done as the determinative. But I wanted to use this to illustrate how those last letters, if it doesn't feel like it works, it's probably a determinative. And think about it in that way, if it's, you're getting stuck with it. All right, so we're going to look at another example of that coming up. So let's look at the next letter, F. This is the horned viper. Easy to draw. It's a circle with a little bumpy line and then 2 caterpillar antennae. Well, they're actually not antennae. These are actually represent the horns of the horned viper. And yes, this is a real animal, not something from Game of Thrones. You do not want to meet one of these. I have not had the pleasure. I don't want the pleasure. All right, horned viper. Yeah, that's an animal. So it's F, and then last week, you remember we did the vulture, which was A. So yes, this is for the new class, and this is how it's cool to be joining in now since there's review here. So we've got F and A sound, so fa, and to understand what word it is, though, we have to look at the determinatives. Now, this case, we know they're determinatives because they're people. People are always determinatives. There are no full body sounds. Here's a head. All right, so here we have a man squatting and a man over him with a stick, and you see that curve in the stick at the top. That means it is a rod of command. So you know that one man is commanding the other person to do something. So this is there to jog your memory of what this word means. It means to rise or to raise up. So in this case, you have a man commanding a man squatting to join him and raise up. To be equals? Well, yeah, let's go with that. Raise up with me and be equals together. Okay, so let's look at another one and another determinative issue. So here we have our horned viper, which you remember was F. Then under that we have our water glyph, our snake, and then we have a two glyph sound, number 4, and then this odd, looks like a cow that's sort of looking off to the side with a big floppy ear. All right, which one do you think is the determinative? Well, obviously the one you've never seen before if you've been sticking around from the beginning, but again, you see a picture of a specific animal and it's an odd version of that animal. It's probably a determinative. So we're reading it up to down, left to right, reading into the animal's faces. Anytime you have an animal face, that's the direction you're reading into. So that makes this F, N, J, Nud, and then the determinative. But if you look at the J and the Nud of glyphs 3 and 4, the snake and the staff, they're similar. They're not exactly sound complements, but because they are so similar and they sort of balance each other out, that makes them sound complements. So this is not a determinative. It's a sound complement to the previous j sound, just giving that emphasis of jn. So it does come in there, but it also, again, helps strengthen the sign before it. A lot of ways this was made glyphs easier to read because if you forget one, another one could jog your memory and make it stronger about what you're reading. It's hard to read these things, and they worked in, great little tricks like that. All right, so looking at this determinative at the end, obviously this is an animal, and hopefully it looks enough like a cow that you recognize what I drew. I'm not always the greatest artist, even though I teach drawing, well, doodling. So here we have a glyph, and it is specifically done not because it's a cow, but because of the fact that a cow's snoot is so far out. This is the word for nose, finnage, and a cow used because it's a very prominent feature. If it was just a human head, you might not get that the nose was what they were talking about, and you don't really see the cow at this angle when it's not used to represent a nose. Other angles, other uses. All right, so hey, what do you think of this brave new direction? Does it help for new students? Is it working for older students? Let me know in the comments below. I want to make this work for everyone. And if you do like this series, please share it with others. It's great to share fun knowledge, and that's really why I put this together, because I love learning and I love doodling with purpose. I hope you do too, and thanks for joining me this week.